And now, the presidential debacle team!
Thank you and good evening. The last presidential debate could have been rated as MA, mature audiences, per TV parental guidelines. Knowing that educators assign viewing the presidential debates as students' homework, do you feel you are modeling appropriate and positive behavior for today's youth?
I don't remember.
Well, thank you. Are you a teacher?
I agree with everything she said.
Yes, I think that that's a very good question because I've heard from lots of teachers and parents about some of their concerns about some of the things that are being said and done in this campaign.
I've gotten to know the people
and I
of the
think it
country
is
over
very
the last
important
year
for
and a
us to
half
make
that I've
clear
been
to
doing this
our
as a
children that
politician. I
our
cannot believe I'm
country
saying that
really
about myself, but I
is
guess I have been a
great because we're
politician.
good.
And my whole
we are
concept
going to respect
was
one
to
another,
make America great
lift
again.
each
When
other
I
up.
watch
We are going to
deals
be
being made, when I
looking
watch
for
what's
ways to
happening
celebrate
with
our diversity.
some horrible things like
And
Obamacare,
we are
where
going
your
to
health
try to
insurance
reach out to every
and
boy
healthcare is
and
going up by
girl as
numbers
well
that are
as every adult
astronomical, 68%,
to bring them in to working on behalf of our country.
71%.
I have a very
When I look at the
positive
Iran
and
deal and how
optimistic
bad a
view
deal
about
it
what
is
we
for
can
us,
do
it's a
together.
one-sided
That's why the
transaction
slogan of my
where we're
campaign
giving
is
back
Stronger Together.
$150 billion
Because I think if we
to
work
a
together,
terrorist state,
if we
really the number
overcome
one
the
terrorist state, we've made them a strong
divisiveness that
country
sometimes
from
sets
really a very weak
Americans
country
against
just
one
3 years
another,
ago.
and instead
When I look at
we
all
make
of
some
the
big
things
goals,
that I see
and
and
I've
all
set
of the
forth some big
potential that
goals,
our
getting the
country has, we
economy
have
to work
such
for everyone,
tremendous potential,
not just those at the
whether
top,
it's in
making
business
sure
and
that we
trade, where we're
have
doing so
the best
badly.
education system
Last
from
year we had an
preschool through
almost
college and making it
$800 billion
affordable
trade
and so
deficit.
much
In other
else.
words,
If we set
trading with
those
other
goals
countries,
and
we had
we
an
go together to try to achieve them,
$800
there's
deficit.
nothing,
It's
in my
hard to believe.
opinion, that
Inconceivable.
America can't do.
You say who's
So
making
that's
these
why
deals?
I hope
We're
that
gonna
we
make great
will
trade deals. We're gonna
come
have a strong
together in
border.
this campaign.
We're gonna bring back law and
Obviously,
order.
I'm hoping
Just
to earn
today,
your vote. I'm
policeman
hoping
was
to be
shot,
elected
2
in November,
killed,
and I can
and
promise
this
you
is
I
happening
will
on a
work
weekly
with every
basis.
American. I want to
We have
be
to bring
the
back
president for all Americans,
respect to
regardless
law
of your
enforcement.
political
At the same
beliefs,
time, we
where
have
you
to
come
take care of
from,
people
what
on
you
all
look
sides. We
like,
need
your
justice.
religion. I want us to
But
heal our
I
country
want
and bring it
to do
together,
things that
because
haven't been
that's,
done,
I think, the
including
best way
fixing
for us
and
to get the
making
future
our inner
that our
cities better for
children
the
and our grandchildren
African-American
deserve.
citizens that are so great, and for the Latinos, Hispanics. And I look forward to doing it. It's called Make America Great Again.
You describe kissing women without consent, grabbing their genitals. That is sexual assault. You brag that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
I don't remember. Oh, maybe that's what I said. This guy, I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the pussy. You can do anything.
Well,
no, I didn't say that at all.
like
I don't
everyone
think you
else,
understood
I've
what
spent a
was
lot
said.
of time
This was
thinking
locker room
over the last
talk.
48 hours
I'm not proud of it.
about
I
what we
apologize to
heard
my
and
family.
saw.
I apologize to the
You
American
know, with
people.
prior
Certainly I'm not
Republican
proud of it,
nominees
but this
for
is
president,
locker room talk.
I
You know, when we
disagreed
have
with
a
them
world
on
where you have
politics,
ISIS chopping
policies,
off heads,
principles,
where you have, and
but I
frankly,
never
drowning
questioned their
people in steel
fitness
cages,
to
where
serve.
you have wars and
Donald Trump is
horrible
different.
sites all over.
I said
Where you
starting
have
back
so
in
many
June
bad things happening. This
that
is like
he
medieval
was not
times. We
fit
haven't
to
seen
be
anything
president
like this. The
and
carnage all
commander
over
in
the
chief.
world. They
And
look
many
and they see. Can
Republicans
you
and
imagine the
independents have
people
said the same
that
thing.
are frankly doing so well against
What
us
we all saw
with
and
ISIS,
heard on
and they
Friday
look at our country and they see what's going on.
was
Yes, I'm very
Donald
embarrassed by
talking
it.
about
I
women,
hate it, but it's
what he
locker
thinks
room
about
talk,
women,
and
what he
it's one of
does
those
to
things.
women.
I will
And
knock
he
the hell
has
out of
said
ISIS.
that
We're
the
gonna defeat
video
ISIS.
doesn't
ISIS
represent who he
happened
is.
a number of years
But
ago in a vacuum
I think
that was
it's
left.
clear to anyone
So
who
because of
heard
bad
it that
judgment,
it
and I will tell you,
represents exactly
I
who
will
he
take
is.
care of ISIS,
Because we've
and
seen
I'll
this
get
throughout
onto
the
much more
campaign.
important things.
We have
and much
seen
bigger
him
things.
insult
Just for the record,
women.
though, are you saying that what
We've
you said
seen
on that
him
bus
rate
11
women
years ago, that you did not
on their
actually
appearance,
kiss women without
ranking
consent
them
or
from
grope
1 to
women without
10.
consent?
I have great respect for women.
We've seen him
Nobody has
embarrass
more respect
women
for women
on
than I do.
TV and on
So for the
Twitter.
record, you're saying you never did that?
We saw him after the first debate spend nearly a
These
week
things are said.
denigrating
And I was
a former
embarrassed
Miss
by it,
Universe
but I have tremendous
in the
respect for
harshest,
women.
Have you ever
most
done those
personal
things?
Have respect
terms.
for me.
So,
and I will tell you, no, I
yes,
have not.
this is who
And I
Donald
will
Trump
tell you
is.
that I'm going to make our country
But it's
safe.
not only women, and it's not only this video that raises questions about his fitness to be our president,
other places.
Because he has also targeted immigrants, African Americans, Latinos, people with disabilities, POWs, Muslims, and so many others.
But we have to build up the
so
wealth
this
of
is who Donald Trump is, and the question for us, the question our country must answer,
Secretary Clinton, do you want to respond?
Is that this is not
words, folks.
who we are.
It's just words. Those words
That's
I've been
why, to
hearing them
go
for
back
many
to your
years.
question,
I heard them when
I want to send a message. We all should.
For the
to
Senate
every boy
in
and
New York,
girl,
where
and
Hillary was
indeed
gonna
to the
bring back
entire
jobs
world,
to upstate New York,
that America
and she
already
failed.
is great, but we
I've
are
heard
great
them
because
where
we are
Hillary's
good.
constantly talking about
And we
the inner
will
cities of
respect
our
one
country,
another. And we will
which are
work
a
with one
disaster,
another. And we will
education-wise,
celebrate our
job-wise,
diversity.
safety-wise.
These
in
are
every way
very
possible.
important values to
I'm
me
going to help
because
the
this
African
is the
Americans. I'm
America
going to help
that
the
I know
Latinos,
and love.
Hispanics.
And I can pledge to you
I am going
tonight
to help the
that
inner
this
cities.
is the
She's done
America
a terrible
that I
job
will serve if
for
I'm
the
so
African
fortunate enough
Americans. She wants
to
their
become
vote,
your
and
president.
she does nothing, and then she comes back 4 years later. We saw that firsthand when she was a United States Senator. She campaigned where the primary part of her campaign.
I want to get to audience questions and online questions.
So she's allowed to do that, but I'm not allowed to.
You're going to get to respond right now.
Sounds fair.
Jeff from Ohio asks on Facebook, Trump says the campaign has changed him. When did that happen? So, Mr. Trump, let me add to that. When you walked off that bus at age 59, were you a different man, or did that behavior continue until just recently?
Are you all right? I mean, were you hurt?
Well, compared to the rest of my week, the car crash was kind of fun.
I quote, because she is a dog who wrongfully comments on me. An extremely unattractive woman. I refuse to say that because I always insist on being politically correct. Ariana Huff is unattractive both inside and out. I fully understand why her former husband left her for a man. He made a good decision.
You dropped to your knees.
Yeah.
It must be a pretty picture you dropped to your knees.
Viewers give low marks to bimbo at Megyn Kelly. We'll consider other programs.
You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever. But
you know, it really doesn't matter what they write, as long as you've got a young and beautiful piece of
Did that behavior continue until just recently? And you have 2 minutes for this.
Let me start by saying
was locker room talk.
that so much of what he's
I'm
just
not
said is
proud of
not
it.
right, but he gets
I
to
am a
run his
person
campaign any way he
great
chooses.
respect
He
for
gets to
people, for
decide
my
what he wants to
family, for
talk
the
about.
people of this country.
Instead of answering
certainly I'm
people's
not proud of
questions,
it.
talking about our
But that was
agenda,
something
laying
that,
out the plans that we have that
If you look
we
at,
think can
Bill
make
Clinton,
a better
far
life
worse,
and a better
minor
country.
words, and his was
That's
action.
his choice.
His was what he's done to
When
women.
I hear
There's
something
never been
like that,
anybody in the
I am
history
reminded of
politics
what my friend
in this
Michelle
nation
Obama
that's been so abusive to
advised
women.
us all.
So you
When
can
they
say
go low,
any way you want to
you
say
go
it.
high.
But Bill Clinton was abusive to women. Hillary Clinton attacked
And
those same women
Look,
and attacked
if
them
this were
viciously.
just
4 of
about
them
one
here
video,
tonight. One of
maybe
the
what
women,
he's saying
who
tonight
was a wonderful woman at 12
would
years
be understandable.
old, was raped.
But everyone
at
can draw
12.
their own conclusions
Her
at this
client,
point
she
about whether or
represented,
not
got
the
him
man
off,
in the video
and
or the
she's
man on
seen
the
laughing
stage
on 2
respects
separate
women.
occasions, laughing at the girl who was
But
raped.
he never
Kathy
apologizes
Shelton,
for
that young
anything to
woman,
anyone.
is here with us tonight.
He never apologized
So,
to Mr.
Don't
and
tell me
Mrs.
about
Khan,
words. I am
the Gold Star
absolutely,
family,
I apologize for those
whose son,
words.
Captain Khan,
But
died in
it
the
is
line of duty
things that
in
people
Iraq.
say. But
And
what
Donald
President Clinton
insulted
did, he
and
was
attacked
impeached.
them
He lost
for
his
weeks
license to
over their
practice
religion.
law. He had to pay an
He never apologized
$850,000
to the distinguished
fine
federal
to one of
judge
the women,
who was
Paula
born in
Jones,
Indiana.
who's also here tonight. And I
But
will
Donald
tell
said
you
he couldn't
that
be trusted to
when
be a judge
Hillary
because
brings up a point like that,
his
and
parents
she
were,
talks
quote,
about
Mexican.
words that I said 11
He
years
never
ago.
apologized to the reporter
I think it's
that
disgraceful,
he
and
mimicked
I think she should
and
be
mocked
ashamed
on
of
national
herself if you want to know
television,
the truth.
and our children were watching.
Can we
And he
please
never
hold the
apologized
applause?
for the racist lie that President Obama was not born in the United States of America. He owes the president an apology. He owes our country an apology. And he needs to take responsibility for his actions and his words.
We have a question here from Ken Karpowitz. He has a question about health care. Ken?
I'd like to know, Anderson, why aren't you bringing up the emails? I'd like to know. Why aren't you
We brought up the emails.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. And it hasn't been finished at all.
Ken Karpowitz has a question.
Nice to 1 on 3.
Thank you. Affordable Care Act known as Obamacare. It is not affordable. Premiums have gone up, deductibles have gone up, co-pays have gone up, prescriptions have gone up, and the coverage has gone down. What will you do to bring the costs down and make coverage better?
That first one goes to Secretary Clinton because you started out the last one to the audience.
If he wants to start, he can start. No, go ahead, Donald.
I don't even wait.
No, I'm a gentleman, Hillary. Go ahead.
I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired. I'll probably sue Rosie because she doesn't tell the facts. As an example, I'm worth many billions of dollars. Now, she said I was bankrupt. I never went bankrupt. So probably I'll sue her because it would be fun. I'd like to take some money out of her fat ass pocket.
Well, I think Donald was about to say he's going to solve it by repealing it and getting rid of the Affordable Care Act. And I'm going to fix it because I agree with you. Premiums have gotten too high, co-pays, deductibles, prescription drug costs, and I've laid out a series of actions that we can take to try to get those costs down. But here's what I don't want people to forget when we're talking about reining in the cost, which has to be the highest priority of the next president.
We have right now
when the Affordable Care Act passed, it wasn't just that 20 million people got insurance who didn't have it before, but that in and of itself was a good thing. I meet these people all the time, and they tell me what a difference having that insurance meant to them and their families. But everybody else, the 170 million of us who get health insurance through our employers, got big benefits. Number one, insurance companies can't deny you coverage because of a pre-existing condition. Number two, no lifetime limits, which is a big deal if you have serious health problems. Number three, women can't be charged more than men for our health insurance, which is the way it used to be before the Affordable Care Act. Number four, if you're under 26 and your parents have a policy, you can be on that policy until the age of 26, something that didn't happen before.
Which would be a disaster.
So I want very much to save what works and is good about the Affordable Care Act. But we've got to get costs down. We've got to provide some additional help to small businesses so that they can afford to provide health insurance.
But
if we repeal it, as Donald has proposed, and start over again, all of those benefits I just mentioned are lost to everybody, not just people who get their health insurance on the exchange. And then we would have to start all over again. Right now, we are 90% health insurance coverage. That's the highest we've ever been in our country. So I want us to get to 100%, but get costs down and keep quality up.
Hi. There are 3.3 million Muslims in the United States, and I'm one of them. You've mentioned working with Muslim nations, but with Islamophobia on the rise, how will you help people like me deal with the consequences of being labeled as a threat to the country after the election is over?
Well, thank you for asking your question, and I've heard this question from a lot of Muslim Americans
one thing we have to do
across our country
is we have to make sure because there is a problem.
Unfortunately, there's been a
whether
lot
we like it or not, and we can be very politically
divisive,
correct, but whether we like it or not, there is a problem.
Muslims.
And we have to be sure
even someone like Captain Khan, the young man who sacrificed himself
when they see something
defending our
when they see
country in the
hatred
United
going on,
States
they have to report
Army
it. As an example, in
has
San
been
Bernardino,
subject to attack by Donald.
Many people saw the bombs all over the apartments of the two people that killed 14 and wounded many people. Horribly wounded. They'll never be the same.
We've had many successful
Muslims have to report.
We just lost a particularly well-known one with Muhammad Ali.
And, you know, there's always a reason for
My vision of
everything.
America is an
If
America
they don't
where
do that, it's a very difficult situation for our country.
If you're willing to work
because
hard,
you look at Orlando,
do your part,
and you look at San Bernardino, and you look at the World Trade Center. Go outside,
that's
you look
what
at
America
Paris,
is.
look at
That's
that
what we want
horrible.
America to
These
be
are
for our children and our
radical
grandchildren.
Islamic terrorists.
It's also
And
very short-sighted
won't
and
even
even
mention the
dangerous
word. And nor
to be
will
engaging in the
President
kind
Obama.
of
He won't use the
demagogic
term
rhetoric that
radical
Donald has
Islamic
about Muslims.
terrorism. Now,
we need
to solve
American
a problem,
Muslims to be
you have
part
to be able
of our
to
eyes
state
and
what the
ears
problem is,
on our
or at
front
least
lines.
say the name.
I've worked with a lot of
She
different
won't say
Muslim
the name,
groups
and President
around
Obama
America.
won't say the name.
I've met with a
But
lot
the
of them,
name is
and I've
there.
heard
It's radical
how important it is
Islamic
for them to
terror.
feel that
And
they are
before you
wanted
solve it,
and
you have to say
included
the
and
name.
part of our country, part of our homeland security, and that's what I want to see. It's also important, I intend to defeat ISIS, to do so in a coalition with majority Muslim nations. Right now, a lot of those nations are hearing what Donald says and wondering, why should we cooperate with the Americans? And this is a gift to ISIS and the terrorists, violent jihadist terrorists. We are not at war with Islam. And it is a mistake, and it plays into the hands of the terrorists to act as though we are. So I want a country where citizens like you and your family are just as welcome as anyone else.
Thank you.
Good evening. My question is, what specific tax provisions will you change to ensure the wealthiest Americans pay their fair share in taxes?
Well, one thing I
everything
do is
you've
get rid
heard
of carried interest.
just now from Donald is not true.
One of the greatest provisions for people like me.
I'm sorry I have to keep saying this, but he lives in an alternative reality. And it is sort of amusing to hear somebody who hasn't paid federal income taxes in maybe 20 years talking about what he's going to do. But I'll tell you what he's going to do.
Took advantage of the tax
His plan will give
why didn't she change
the
it? Why
wealthy
didn't you
and
change it when you were a
corporations
senator?
the
reason you
biggest
didn't is
tax
that all your
cuts
friends
they've
take
ever
the same
had,
advantage that I
more
do.
than the
And I
Bush
do.
tax cuts
You
by
have
at
provisions
least
in the
a
tax
factor
code that
of
frankly
2.
we could change.
Donald always takes
But you
care of
wouldn't
Donald
change it because
and
all of
people
these
like
people
Donald,
give you
and this would be
the money
a
so you can
massive
take
gift.
negative ads on Donald
And
Trump.
indeed, the way that he talks about
and I
his
say
tax
that about a lot
cuts
of things.
would
You know,
end
I've
up
heard Hillary
raising
complaining about
taxes
so many
on
different things
middle-class
over the
families,
years. Over
millions of middle-class
but she's been there for 30
Now,
years.
here's
She's
what
been
I
doing
wanna
this
do.
stuff. She
I
never
have
changed,
said
and she never
nobody
will
who
change.
makes less than
She never will
$250,000
We're
a
getting
year,
rid of
and that's the
carried interest
vast majority of Americans,
I'm
as you
lowering
know,
taxes,
will have
actually,
their
because I
taxes
think it's so
raised.
important
Because
for
I
corporations.
think we've got to
we have
go where the money
corporations
is, and the
leaving
money
massive
is with
corporations
people
and
who've
little
taken
ones.
advantage
Little ones
of
can't form.
every single
We're getting
break
rid of
in the tax
regulations,
code. And
which
yes,
goes
when I was
hand
a
in
senator,
hand with the
I did
lowering
vote
of the
to
taxes.
close
But we're bringing the
corporate
tax rate
loopholes.
down from
I voted to
35%
close,
to 15%.
I think one of the
We're
loopholes he
cutting
took
taxes
advantage
for the
of when
middle
he claimed
class.
$1 billion
And I will tell you, we are cutting them
loss that
big
enabled him to
for the
avoid
middle
paying
class.
taxes.
And I will tell you,
I
Hillary
want to
Clinton is
have
raising
a
your taxes, folks. You can look at
on
me.
people
She's raising
who
your taxes.
are making $1 million.
really high.
It's called the Buffett
And
rule. Yes,
what that's
Warren
going
Buffett is
to
the one
do
who's gone
is a
out and said
disaster for
somebody
the
like
country.
him should
But
not
she
be
is
paying a lower
raising your
tax
taxes,
rate
and I'm lowering
than
your
his
taxes.
secretary.
That in
I want to
itself
have
is a
a
big difference. We are
surcharge
going
on
to be
incomes
thriving
above
again.
$5 million. We have to make
no
up for
growth
lost
for
time
this country.
because
There's no
I want to
growth.
invest in
If
you. I
China
want
has
to
a
invest in
GDP
hardworking families.
of 7%, it's like a national catastrophe.
Unfortunate,
We're down at 1%.
It's happened that
And
since the Great
that's like
Recession, the
no
gains
growth.
have
And we're
all
going
gone
lower,
to the top.
in my opinion.
And we need
and
to
a lot
reverse
of it has
that.
to do with the fact
People
that our
like
taxes
Donald
are so
who
high,
paid
just
zero
about
in
the highest
taxes,
in the
zero
world.
for our vets,
And I'm bringing
zero for
them
our
down to
military,
one of the
zero
lower
for
in the
health
world.
and education.
And I think it's
that
so
is
important, one of the
wrong.
most
And we're going
important
to
things
make
we can do.
sure
But
that
she is
nobody,
raising
no
everybody's taxes
corporation and no
massively.
individual can get away without paying his fair share to support our country.
My question is, do you believe you can be a devoted president to all the people in the United States?
67% of the people voted to re-elect me when I ran for my second term.
Are people deplorable?
And I was very
A large
proud
group.
and very humbled by that.
And irredeemable.
Mr. Carter,
I will be a president.
I have
for all
tried
of
my
our people.
entire
and
life
I'll be a president
to
that
do
will
what
turn
I
our inner
can
cities
to
around
support
and will give
children and
strength
families.
To people,
You know,
and we'll
right out
give
of law school,
economics
I
to
went to
people,
work for
and
the
we'll
Children's
bring
Defense
jobs
Fund,
back,
and
because
Donald
NAFTA,
talks a
signed
lot
by her
about,
husband, is perhaps the
you know,
greatest disaster
the 30
trade
years
deal
I've
in
been
the
in
history
public
of the world.
service.
Not in this country.
I'm proud of that.
It's stripped
I started
us of
off as a
manufacturing
young
jobs.
lawyer working
We
against
lost our jobs.
discrimination against
We
African
lost our
American
money.
children
We lost
in
our plants.
schools
It is a
and in
disaster.
the criminal justice
and now she
system.
wants to sign TPP,
I
even though
worked
she
to
says
make
now
sure
she's for
that
it. She
kids
called
with
it the gold
disabilities
standard.
could get a
And by the
public
way, at the last
education,
debate, she
something
lied
that
because it turned
I
out
care
that she did say
very
the gold
much
standard.
about.
Then she
I
said
have
she didn't
worked
say it.
with
They actually
Latinos.
said
One of my first
that
jobs in politics
she lied.
was
Okay,
down in
and she
South
lied, but
Texas,
she's lied about a lot of
registering
things.
Latino
I would
citizens to be
a
able
president
to
for
vote.
all of the people.
So
African
I have a
Americans,
deep
the inner
devotion
cities,
to use your
devastating
absolutely
what's
correct
happening to our
word,
inner cities.
to
She's been
making
talking
sure
about
that
it for
every
years. As
American
usual,
feels like
she
he
talks
or she
about it,
has a
nothing
place
happens.
in our country.
She doesn't get it done.
And
same with the
I think
Latino
when you look at
Americans,
the letters
the
that I
Hispanic
get,
Americans,
a lot of people
the
are
same
worried
exact
that
thing.
maybe they wouldn't have a
talk,
place
they
in
don't get it
Donald
done.
Trump's America.
You go into the inner cities and you see it's 45%
They write
poverty.
me, and
African
one woman
Americans
wrote
now
me about her
45%
son, Felix.
poverty in
She
the inner
adopted
cities.
him from Ethiopia
The
when he was a
education is
toddler.
a
He's 10
disaster.
years old now. This is the only country's ever known.
Essentially
And
non-existent.
he listens to Donald on TV, and he said to his mother one day,
and I've been saying,
will he send me back to Ethiopia if he
20
gets
and 30,000 people. What do you have to lose?
Children listen
it can't get
to
any
what
worse.
is being
and she's been
said.
talking
To go
about
back
the
to
inner
the
cities
very,
for
very
25
first
years.
question. And
Nothing's
there's a
gonna
lot
ever
of
happen.
fear that, in
Let me tell
fact,
you,
teachers
if she's
and parents
president
are
of the
calling
United
it the
States,
Trump
nothing's going to
effect.
happen. It's just going to be talking.
Bullying
All of
is
her
up.
friends,
A lot
the
of people
taxes
are
we were talking
feeling,
about,
uneasy.
and I
a
would
lot
just
of
get it
kids
by
are
osmosis.
expressing their concerns.
She's not doing any of me favors.
So first and
But
foremost,
by doing all the others favors, she's doing me favors.
I will do everything I can to reach out to everybody, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, people across
all you
our
have to do is
country.
take a look at
If
the
you don't
Senate
vote
run.
for
Take a
me,
look
I
at
still
upstate
want to
New
be
York.
your president. I want to be the best president I can be for every American.
Good evening. Perhaps the most important aspect of this election is a Supreme Court justice. What would you prioritize as the most important aspect of selecting a Supreme Court justice?
Thank you.
Justice
Well, you're right.
Scalia,
This is one of the most important issues in this
judge,
election.
died recently.
I want to appoint Supreme Court justices who understand the way the world really works,
looking to appoint
who have real-life
judges very much
experience,
in the mold of
who have not just
Justice
been in a
Scalia.
big law firm and maybe
I'm
clerked for a
looking
judge and
for
then gotten on the
judges,
bench,
and I've
but
actually
maybe they
picked
tried
20
some more
of them
cases. They actually
so that
understand what people are up against, because I think the current court has gone in the wrong direction.
Very beautifully
And so I would
reviewed
want to
by
see the
just about
Supreme
everybody.
Court
But
reverse
people that
Citizens
will
United
respect
and get
the
dark,
Constitution
unaccountable money out of our
of the
politics.
United States.
Donald doesn't agree with
And
that.
I think
I would
that
like the
this is
Supreme
so
Court to
important.
understand that
Also,
voting
the
rights
Second
are still a
Amendment,
big
which is
problem
totally
in many
under
parts of our
siege by
country. That
people like
we don't
Hillary Clinton.
always do everything we
They'll
can to
respect
make
the
it
Second Amendment
possible
and what
for
it stands for,
people
what
of
it
color and
represents.
older people and
So
young people
important
to
to
be
me.
able
Now,
to
Hillary mentioned
exercise their
something about,
franchise. I want a Supreme
contributions,
Court
just so you understand.
that
So
will
I
stick
will
with Roe
have
v. Wade and a
in my
woman's right
race
to choose, and
more
I
than
want a
$100
Supreme
million
Court that will
put in
stick
of
with
my
marriage
money, meaning
equality.
I'm not taking
Now, Donald has
all
put
of this
forth the
big
names
money
of some
from
people
all of
that he
these
would
different
consider.
corporations like she's doing. What
And
I
among
ask
the
is this,
ones
so
that he has
I'm putting in
suggested
more than, by the
are
time it's
people
finished,
who would
I'll have more
reverse
than
Roe v.
$100
Wade
million
and reverse
invested.
marriage equality. I think
Pretty
that would
much
be a
self-funding
terrible
mine. We're
mistake
raising
and
money
would
for the
take us
Republican
backwards.
Party, and we're doing
I want a
tremendously
Supreme
on the
Court that
small
doesn't
donation,
always side
$61
with corporate
average or so.
interests. I want a
I
Supreme
asked
Court that
Hillary, why
understands
doesn't she make
because you're wealthy and you can give
$250
more money
million
to something doesn't mean
by
you have
being
any
in
more
office?
rights or should have any more
She
rights
used
than
the
anybody
power
else.
of her office to make
So
a lot
I have
of money.
very clear
Why
views
isn't she
about what I
funding,
want to see
not for $100 million,
to
but why don't
change
you
the
put 10 or
balance
20
on the
or
Supreme
25
Court.
or $30
And I
million
regret deeply that the
into
Senate
your
has
own
not done
campaign?
its job.
It's $30
And they have
million
not
less
permitted
for
a
special
vote
interests
on
that
the
will tell
person
you
that
exactly what
President
to
Obama,
do.
a highly
And it would
qualified
really, I
person,
think, be a nice sign
they've not given him
to
a
the
vote
American
to be
public.
able
Why
to
aren't
have
you
the
putting
full
some money in?
complement of
You have a
9
lot of it.
Supreme
You
Court
made a lot of
justices.
it
I think that
because
was
of
a
the fact
dereliction
that
of
you've
duty.
been in office.
I hope that they
Made a
will
lot of
see
it while you
their
were
way to
Secretary
doing
of
it.
State,
But if I
actually.
am
So why
so
aren't you
fortunate
putting
enough as to
money
be
into your own
president, I will
campaign? Just
immediately
curious.
move to make sure that we
Just
fill
curious.
that. We have
Just
9
curious.
Thank you,
justices
Secretary
that get to work on behalf of our people.
What steps will your energy policy take to meet our energy needs, while at the same time remaining environmentally friendly and minimizing job loss for fossil power plant workers?
China is illegally dumping steel in the United States, and Donald Trump is buying it to build his buildings,
under absolute
putting steel workers and American steel plants
EPA,
out of
Environmental
business.
Protection Agency,
That's something that I fought against as a senator, and that I would have
foreign companies are now
a
coming
trade
in, buying
prosecutor to make sure
buying
that
so
we
many of our
don't
different
get
plants,
taken advantage
and
of
then
by
rejiggering
China
the
on
plant
steel or
so
anything
that they can
else.
take care of their oil.
You know, because
We
it sounds
are
like
killing,
you're in the
absolutely
business or you're
killing
aware of people
our
in the
energy
business. You
in
know
this country. Now, I'm
that
all
we are
for
now, for the first time
alternative
ever,
forms of
energy independent.
including
We are
wind,
not
including
dependent
solar,
upon the Middle
etc.
East,
But we need
the
much
Middle
more
East
than
still
wind and
controls
solar.
a lot of the prices. So
And
the price
you look
of
at our
oil
miners.
has
Hillary
been way
Clinton
down,
wants to
and
put
that
all
has
the miners
had
out of
a
business.
damaging effect on a
There
lot
is a
of the
thing
oil
called
companies,
clean
right?
coal.
We are,
Coal
however,
will last
producing a
for
lot of
1,000
natural
years in
gas,
this
which
country.
serves as a bridge
Now we
to
have
more
natural gas and so many other
renewable
things
fuels.
because of
And
technology.
I think that's an
We have
important
unbelievable.
transition.
We have found over the last 7 years.
We've got to remain
we have
energy
found
independent.
tremendous
It
wealth
gives us
right under our
much
feet.
more power
good,
and freedom
especially when
than
you
to
have 20
be
trillion in
worried
debt.
about what goes on in the Middle East. We have enough
bring
worries over
our
there without
energy
having to
companies
worry
back.
about that.
They'll be able to
So
compete.
I
They'll
have
make
a
money.
comprehensive
They'll pay off
energy
our
policy,
national
but
debt.
it really
They'll
does
pay off our
include fighting
tremendous
climate
budget
change because I think that is a serious problem.
But
and I support moving toward more clean, renewable energy as quickly as we can, because I think we can be the 21st century clean energy superpower and create millions of new jobs and businesses. But I also want to be sure that we don't leave people behind. That's why I'm the only candidate from the very beginning of this campaign who had a plan to help us revitalize coal country, because those coal miners and their fathers and their grandfathers, they dug that coal out. A lot of them lost their lives. They were injured, but they turned the lights on and they powered our factories. I don't want to walk away from them, so we've got to do something for them. But the price of coal is down worldwide. So we have to look at this comprehensively, and that's exactly what I have proposed. I hope you will go to HillaryClinton.com and look at my entire policy.
One more audio.
My question to both of you is, regardless of the current rhetoric, would either of you name one positive thing that you respect in one another?
Well, I consider her statement about my children to be
I think that's
a very nice
very
compliment.
fair and important
I don't know if it was
question.
meant to be a compliment,
I respect
but it is a great.
his
I'm very
children.
proud of my children.
His children
and,
are
they've done a wonderful
incredibly
job, and they've been
able
wonderful
and
kids.
devoted,
So,
and I think that says a lot
compliment.
about Donald. I don't agree with nearly anything else he says or does, but I do respect that, and I think that is something that, as a mother and a grandmother, is very important to me.
I will say this about Hillary.
This election,
she doesn't quit. She doesn't give up.
has become in part so conflict-oriented, so intense.
I will say
because
this
there's a
about
lot
Hillary.
at stake.
She
This is not an
quit.
ordinary
She
time,
doesn't
and
give
this
up.
is not
I said she doesn't
an
have the
ordinary election.
stamina. And
we are going to be
I don't believe she does
choosing
have
a
the stamina.
president who
To
will
be
set
president of
policy
this country,
for
you need
not
tremendous
just for
stamina.
8 years, but
I will
because
say
of some
this
of the
about
important
Hillary.
decisions we have to make
She
here at
doesn't
home
quit. She
and
doesn't
around the
give up.
world,
I
from the
respect
Supreme
that.
Court to
I
energy
tell
and
it
so
like
much
it is.
else.
She's a
And
fighter.
so there is
I
a
disagree
lot at
with
stake. It's one of the most
much of what she's fighting
consequential
for.
elections that we've
I
had.
do disagree with her
And that's why
judgment
I've
in
tried to put
many
forth
cases.
specific policies and
But
plans.
she does fight
trying
hard,
to get it
and
off of
she
the
doesn't
personal
quit,
and
and she
put it
doesn't
on
give up,
to
and I
what it
consider
is I
that to
want to
be a
do
very
as
good
president.
trait.
And that's why I hope people will check on that for themselves so that they can see that, yes, I've spent 30 years, actually maybe a little more, working to help kids and families, and I want to take all that experience to the White House and do that every single day.